think that there has to be a combination approach to what we do to fix the budget crisis. I don't think that you can cut your way out with budget cuts across the board, as I think have been suggested by some Republican members of the legislature. I believe that nobody wants to think about raising taxes. I came in time to hear Bill talk briefly about raising the cigarette tax and dedicate that money strictly to fixing PEIA. That's something that I've talked about in a lot of places that I've been, and that's something that I firmly believe in. I think that fixing the PEI program has to be a priority, and the cigarette tax seems to be a logical place to start to do that. In addition to raising the money to do it, you have the potential additional outcome of reducing people's need or ability to purchase cigarettes. And over the course of time, that's going to lower healthcare costs as a whole and potentially lower the amount of money it would take to fully fund PEIA in the long haul. So, I think that I'm generally opposed to any adjustment or to the concept of food tax. There may be a need to address the sales tax, but that should be looked at as a last resort. If we can avoid it, there will have to be some level of cuts in some areas. We just have to be very selective about where those are going to be.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kyle?
Let me start by saying West Virginia is a state, just like most families by law, and just like most families by necessity, are required to operate under a balanced budget. We can't spend money that we don't have. I do believe that we need to increase revenue in some way. That could be through additional tax revenue. But I'm not in favor of across-the-board cuts. I believe there are many programs that are much more important to prioritize than others. I think we need to prioritize the expenses that benefit our citizens over expenses that just benefit our government. And I believe that we must capitalize on our resources. As you've heard me say, I'm extremely optimistic about small business. I'm optimistic about farming and tourism. I believe those are ways we can raise additional revenue with good qualified leadership and the right planning. Those will raise additional revenue even more than the tax increases will raise it.
Great, thank you. Mr. Moore?
I would have to say that I'm a little bit more moderate on this subject with the Republican Party. Is I could see increasing the tobacco tax as a way of increasing some revenue toward the tax that we need to raise. Another thing that I'm also sick and tired of seeing is just the small things. Like the legislators that are in Charleston now, they should be able to prioritize things and not have the taxpayers paying for special sessions. That's one thing that I see that they could do, that also would help save the taxpayers some money. I would also be in favor of putting tax on alcohol, raising it some. If you're going to put taxes on individuals to help with that, to balance a budget, go ahead and put a tax on alcohol or raise that. And I actually had a chance to talk to the director of the PEIA, and I told him, I said, there is a clear way of funding the PEIA permanently. And he asked me what that was, and I told him, I said, it may sound crazy, but add a 12% sales tax on your lottery tickets, because the lottery revenue is $1 billion a year, is what they have grossed in the last couple of years. Each year has been over $1 billion. So if you tax at 12% sales tax, it's 12 cents per dollar lottery ticket. Eventually you're going to get that $120 million, and that would cover your PEIA crisis. As far as small businesses, I believe we need to cut tax on small business owners. That way that they can open up and bring business back into our district and into our state. And again, I'd be in favor of raising that tobacco tax. Thank you.
Time, sir. Good job.